conversation.
Well, I'm in my 40s and my dick don't work anymore. Regardless. So fucking. All right, let's just check our levels real quick. Go ahead and then hold it like this, like a
Cool.
power source. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, the great thing about these recorders is as what's called the limiter, so it's never gonna blow out. It's never gonna go past 0 dBs. If you know anything about audio, it's gonna peak at -3 dBs no matter what. We'll just cut it off. So, but I've been noticing lately, because at the boba shop, we're recording already, by the way.
Cool.
Snap this and do a big clap real quick. Actually, go ahead and clap your hands for me.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah. No, because I've been noticing lately at the boba shop, and I'll take this off. I don't need to have that on. I've been noticing lately at the boba shop that because the guests, because you generally want to keep it about a fist away from you.
Right.
Naturally, as we're talking, people start
start
and
chilling.
everything. Yeah. So I don't know if you heard some of the episodes. Like sometimes, like either myself or the guest, it gets really weak in terms of audio level. And I could, I have plugins to correct it. I'm gonna get real technical here, but yeah, as much as possible. Since this thing has a limiter anyway.
I'm trying to find a happy place right now. Once I find it, I'm gonna lock in.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. So, like, I know this is the first time I've ever done this recording here at my place.
Right.
Yeah, but thanks for coming, dude. But yeah, obviously I couldn't use my mic stands because they don't fit on this thick ass table.
Right.
I was just trying to figure something out, but I couldn't. Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of two-handed. Every now and then you'll take a break.
I'm strong. Hey, I got this.
No, these things are heavy, folks. You can tell, man. That's hefty. Yeah, they're not meant to be held by hand. But yeah, so you don't have to worry so much that there goes the train. That thing comes by.
Yeah, I grew up near one of them. I used to stay in a waterfront in Berkeley growing up. And so it's like I used to like those. It would always let me know I was up way too late because it would come like 4 a.m. and I'd be like, oh.
That's a good point, right?
2 more hours and the sky's gonna get blue.
So, yeah, that's a good point actually, because it is fairly consistent when it comes. Yeah, 4 to morning. Yeah. Luckily, I'm a pretty heavy sleeper, so it never really wakes me up.
Yeah, it never woke me up. I just enjoy it. It's a nostalgia.
But if I've got nothing going on the next day, and I'm like, I don't know about you, man, but video games get me real hard, dude.
Yeah.
Like, not hard in that way, but they get me
Sometimes,
over. Like,
let me do the right thing on that motherfucker. I'm like, I finally did it. Like in the exact sequence I've been trying this for.
I mean, I'm fucking 41. I would have thought I would have grown out of it at some point, but no, they just get better and better, man.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like the thing like that's really weird. And it's always said about our generation. Like I'm 32 coming up, right? So 32, 40, pretty much the same generation, right? Like. Video games are new to us. Our parents didn't have them.
Yeah.
So when we grew up, there was never watching our father play games. Yeah. And even if he maybe played with us a little bit, it was more like your dad playing with one of your toys, like as he's your dad, So like we think like, once we get our dad's age, we'll fall out of it. But it's like our dad would have never fell out of it, I don't think.
You know what's crazy is like now you're 32, I'm 41. Do you remember when we were kids, 32, 41, they seemed like senior citizens, right? It's like but like I don't know about you on the inside, I still feel like that 16-year-old kid is still in there.
I thought I was the only one. It's weird. I think it comes from like I said, just society at that time. It was like me, for instance, I still sag. I don't do it as much as when I was younger. When I was younger, the shit was ridiculous. You know what I mean? It was damn near down on my knees with the belt. I was wearing like in junior high school, not junior high school. As a junior in high school, I didn't weigh but maybe 165 pounds. I had a 40 waist pants on. Yeah, like ridiculous, but. I thought when I grew up, I'd put the jean shorts on like my dad and tuck it in like my dad. And I was just, the more I get older, the more I realize that it's a little bit of like us shaping society and society shaping us. So like our kids are going to do shit, or our kids are going to like do things that we thought like, what the fuck? Like you're 21, you want to go travel and do what? Like you want to start what? Like why would you? You start
noticing things about yourself. That's a clear indicator that you're starting to be in the old generation. Like one of the things for me is really getting annoyed by loud noises. I can't fuck with like loud noises anymore. Like if the music's really bumping in any place, like I'll go outside. It's like, oh wow, yeah, I'm getting old. And then you'll see all the old people slowly start to coming out to you, like, man, that music's really loud.
Yeah, it's like, God damn, it hurt.
Yeah, but you start noticing anything like that about yourself? I mean, you're 32. You're still young.
Nah, seriously, I'm still young, but like and I think it's because of the area I work in. So I'm a post person. I work in the college area, and I just have not a resentment. It's like a honest jealousy towards the youth. They don't do anything wrong. Like they just go to school. And I'm look at this fuck going to school. Look at him. All you got to do is go to school. You wake up in the morning. You probably hang with your friends all day. Then you're gonna go to school, come home, do whatever you want. And it's just like I'm just like they're not doing anything wrong though, and I just have this. I'm lucky enough to be aware of it, but I'm just like, God, I am getting old because they're just doing their thing.
Would you want to go back to school though? Because I fucking hate school.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes me self-aware about it is in reality, you're just scared of getting older. Yeah. But in reality, you don't care about any of it. Because I'll see their rush week, right? Because I work in the dorm area. So I'll see rush week and I'm like, they think they're so fucking like the beer pong. Who wants to fucking play beer pong all day? You wanted to play beer pong all day. You don't want to now.
It's still fun every now and then.
Every now and then, right. I get jealous of the youth a little bit. For no other reason than I just know that they're young with
no responsibilities.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But, thing is, even with the responsibilities, I still take that any day over being back in school again. And
100%.
Just because of... 100%. The control you have over your own decisions and what you want to. Obviously, there are things in life that are out of our control, right?
Right.
I would say success to a certain extent is also luck.
Oh, for sure.
But I'd still, if I want to stay up late, I'm going to stay up late. Yeah. If I want to drive here, I'm drive here. I'm going to do what I want with my time instead of just following. I mean, I don't have a full-time job, so I mean, I was. Freelance. Thing is, with my videography career, I would always go back between freelancing for other people and doing my own client projects. And then I could never maintain that because it's kind of similar to stand-up where you're so focused on just trying to get good. Yeah. You completely don't realize that there's a business aspect to it, right?
Just starting to learn that.
Yeah, right. So I just completely neglected that, and I was never able to really maintain it as a business. So I would go back and land full-time gigs with a production company, or I was doing real estate marketing with videos, or my last full-time gig was with a media agency as a producer editor, right? But every time,
that just sounds hella amazing to me. It's probably to you, it's just like a job, and I'm like, this thing's a videographer.
I get it because I remember when I was first studying to be, a videographer, right? Well, a lot of people's goals was to get to the agency level, and so I was there. I kind of took it for granted. I was like, oh wow, yeah, I forgot. This is kind of the goal because 9 years in, it's really just a grind at that point, and you're just. So you kind of forgot. Oh yeah, this is kind of one of the spots where people are trying to land. And
right. But not just do this.
Yeah, but for me, always around the 1 year mark, I start getting that itch where it's I'm tired of having to ask for permission if I want to go take a trip somewhere. It's just something just feels wrong about that to me. How do you feel about that?
No, for sure. So if anybody knows me, and I've beaten all these cases to USPS, so it's on the record. Anytime I get burnt out, it's I do have the annual leave, which is great. We have a great union and all that, right? But it's the idea that I have to bid on that thing. So it's what if some senior does want the summer? It's well, of course, a lot of people want the summer. So not, and it's nothing wrong with older, workers wanting the summer. Of course, you understand, right? But it's and it's kind of the best system you have to work in that. It's the best way you're going to do it, or else it'd be all type of crazy nepotism going on. But just having to no, okay, I can't on a whim come into some money and be man, I want to fucking go down to South America again for a week. It's no, I have to be 7 months from now, I want to go to South America and I'll save for it and I'll buy the ticket now and that'll be nice to look at for 7 months. I'll buy the Airbnb a little ways out. And it's but then by the time I'm there, I still have tons of fun, but it's not that initial. I got the money now. Let's go. Let's do it.
It just feels wrong that you're basically leasing your existence to someone, and at a certain point, they own you at that point, and I don't know. I mean, that's why my wife always gets annoyed with me because I'm such an artist. In that way, when you get married, things change.
I know a couple people going through that.
But you know what? For me, they changed in a good way because I needed that kind of
structure
and responsibility to really push me. Because the worst thing you can do to a creative is not give them any deadlines or any pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Same. I'm in the same boat. It's funny. I'm just dating a couple of women now, and I was just thinking,
a couple of women. Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing exclusive. I'm no liar, so it's nothing exclusive.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's what you're supposed to do. That's it. Is to go and put the mic by her phone.
It's not that I want to have a mom for a girlfriend, but it's can I just do what I have to do as a partner and like just let me do what I do on the. Just let me like I'll work and that's all.
Keep this in front of your mouth. There you go. There you go. Come on, man. You're a stand-up, dude. You put in the foot.
I'll work. I'll do things around the house. I don't mind being a partner, but like. I'll be the protector, all of that shit, but like I don't want to have to think about bills. Just tell me how much it totals up to be, and I'll work towards that. And it's easier for me because if I have to start thinking about that, then it's like that just adds to the anxiety. Then I got the anxiety of like, did you even write a joke today?
Do you get that anxiety about you have to write every day?
Yeah, all the time.
Really?
And sometimes I'll get on good spurts where I'll turn off all the social media on my phone. I'll like delete it off my phone, right? And then I'll say, okay, every stop, because I do loops at work. I'll say every stop, write 5 parts of this joke because I write them out like factors, right? So like it'll say like blowjobs, funny about a blowjob, the good side, the bad side, like, you know, and then it'll be like, okay, well, women would think this if they heard it, and then you just keep factoring it out so that it's like a whole thing that you can just
you're really structured about how you write it out.
You'll stumble through it at first, the first couple open mics, but then after a while, you just have all these references that are all related to that one thing that you can just kind of riff on if ever you get lost or.
That's really interesting. I feel like that you'd probably be good at roast battles then, the way you write that.
That's how we grew up.
Yeah, because the way you're factoring, okay, well, would they actually think about this? You know, you're already like kind of strategizing, okay, what's my counter going to be? Obviously, they're going to react this way, so I'm going to get them with this, you know. It's like,
all right. If they're louder, it's like I have to go super dry humor. Like sometimes, like in a roast battle, they'll go, it's like, okay, I'm about to go super, like, just ultra dry. Like one time a guy was roasting me once. We were just young, just roasting. He's pretty good, got him some laughs. I said, bro, let's start here. I'm 22, you're 22. I have a belt on and you don't. So that means you're at the same level of about a 6-year-old right now. So no matter how funny you are, everybody here sees you as a kid anyway. So it's kind of like you're entertaining us. Like, so not so much as we're in a roast battle.
It's hard to break that image. You start with that. The
like,
audience is going to look at him like the whole time.
And then like you can see like his under, like I was like, I can see your thought. And then it was over after that. And it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's hard to come back after that because you created an image for an audience that they're never going to forget right at the top.
We used to do that. That's like, me and my brother, we would do these games in high school, just to like social experiments. Like everybody knows we're like brothers, best friends. And it was like, okay, on the school bus today, we're going to act like we hate each other. Like, stole your PlayStation or some shit. And we would have that going around the school. And each different period of class, we're hearing the rumors about ourselves that we made up.
That's hilarious.
And then we all are like, we're walking to the school. He's got one half of the school, I got one half. We walk and then we just like shake hands. And everyone's like, you guys are all immature. We were like, but you were waiting on us. Knowing how close we are. Like, y'all are all waiting on us to like just duke it out over like, what, some shirts and a PlayStation that didn't exist?
That's some like next level shit you guys are doing, like Andy
trolling.
Kaufman kind of thing.
Yeah, we loved it. Like, so many of those.
I guess it's no surprise that you're doing stand up there.
Yeah, I guess so, huh? I didn't know it then though. I swear I didn't know it then. I didn't know it then. Like my mom would say shit and I'd just be like, whatever. Like,
what started it for you then?
I want to say my mom. Honestly, I got to give my mom hella credit about a lot of shit.
That's rare that a parent's gonna encourage a kid. Hey, get into this super unstable field.
Yeah, I think what it is no matter, like my parents, my dad worked at the post office, still works there, he's about to retire. My mom worked at AAA. So great jobs, great parents. You know, I was like middle class kid. They did their best to do what they could. Like I got whoopings a little bit, but nothing too harsh. And after a while, they just stopped doing it. You know,
I feel like a whooping every now and then is honestly good for kids.
Every now and then.
I mean,
me personally, I wouldn't whoop kids as much as like I feel like there's a time to whoop kids, but then there's like I think people can like make it a thing where it's like you're just annoyed right now that the kid is loud and you had a long day at work. But that's a kid, they're gonna be loud. But if like they're like breaking into homes and shit, you know?
Yeah, like I feel like not like nothing on the face, but like a good spanking.
Oh yeah, just a good spanking.
A good spanking. I feel like they every now and then some kids can get fucking wild, man, and they need to be. I'm saying this as, you know, a kid who got spanked like ridiculously, with the belts.
My dad, we got the thing. Go get my mailman belt. It was a stick.
Yeah. But I mean, I was a wild kid too. I mean, I was like an animal when I was a little kid. So I was, but like I feel like, because you know one thing, like I can't stand, man, when I see like parents with the kids out in public and they just have no control over the kid
like,
whatsoever.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's like, even if you don't whoop him, strong arm him. Like, let him know, like, hey, bro, like, end of the day, like, I could really just do anything to you right now. And I'm being nice, and I'm paying for everything today.
Yeah,
you know? So, like, chill out, have fun. Like,
put a little bit of the fear of death into him, even if you don't spank him. But you got to make it clear, hey, you're the fucking parent. You're the adult. You know, that you're in charge. And because I used to have... It's all right. I can say this. My family doesn't listen to this shit. No, I had these two nephews that I basically looked at them like they were just like a wild mountain people. That they basically like wild animals. I couldn't stand it, dude.
Is your mom not gonna stop this? Like nobody's gonna stop or do anything?
No, nothing. Yeah, and because apparently she believed she just wanted her kids like free to express themselves in whatever way.
Yeah, maybe in a constructive way. That's good. A lot of parents go. That's like. You know what that reminds me of? The woke shit, right? And I'm not anti-woke, by the way. Like, I believe in all the PC shit, whatever, but it's like a lot of it goes too far, right? Where, like I told people, like when they're like, we're going to make a law about bathrooms now. I was like, you know what was crazy? And I was just saying this on my Instagram. I said, these people were already using those bathrooms and nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah.
But now that you give people a thing, that you make it a weird thing, you know?
That's a good point, right?
Yeah.
You put it on the public consciousness. And
right.
All of a
Nobody
sudden
cares.
It's a problem.
Usually, nobody gave a fuck. Like, nobody cares. But it's like once you start pushing it to where, and on both sides, right? Once you start pushing it to where this is how you're supposed to be, as opposed to let live and let live. You know, like the right will say, oh, well, we believe in freedom of speech and all that, and it's cool, right? I like guns, right? But it's like, I don't want to be able to have a bad day and go get an AR.
Yeah.
Maybe we should chill a little bit on, you know?
Yeah, I think that's where...
Sorry if I'm jumping all over the
place.
No,
that's the I mean, if you haven't listened to this podcast, this is about. We just go all over.
Cool. Yeah, that's dope.
I'm glad you brought that up because have you heard of this documentary, What is a Woman?
The John Walsh. I've heard about it.
Yeah, Matt Walsh. Yeah.
Matt Walsh. Yeah, I haven't, to be honest. So the reviews I've read about it, my bad, are from mostly left-wing sources. Mm-hmm. So whatever is good or true or whatever in there, I probably did not get that in my review of it. So
you just got to watch it for yourself, kind of things. But, like one, I'll just say right away, I do agree with the main premise that if we're just talking about, biologically speaking, there is only like a man or a woman. You know, it's about, you either have an XX chromosome or XY.
Right.
But that being said, there is such a thing as gender dysphoria. You know, in terms of like, I do believe that someone can be born a man, but like the wiring, something happened. Yeah. So I totally believe that. But what if we're talking about just, it's just getting crazy where they're saying like, oh, men can have babies and men can have periods.
Instead of just saying trans men can have baby or trans men.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, to me, it starts getting, once you start fudging like scientific reality and facts to fit, a woke narrative, that's when it starts getting a little bit like, we got to have like an agreed reality here. Like, there's no denying that a biological man cannot have a baby and cannot have a period. It doesn't mean that you can't be a transgender man or transgender like woman.
Right.
But like conflating
but to make
the two.
Everybody say like, if I'm generally speaking and I'm like, as me, I'm a straight man, right? Like I'm like the women I've been dating lately are hella da. Like they're kind of pushing like, oh, well, that make sure you say cis women, and it's like, well, generally speaking, most women in the world, right? And I respect trans women as women, it's whatever, but. And generally speaking, when I say women, most women in the world are female, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not disparaging it. And if I'm talking to a trans person in that moment, then I'm going to be aware to be like, oh yeah, well, to distinguish. But I think they want like, and I'm not saying that there's some big secret agenda, right? But I think it's like too much information and too soon for a lot of people, right? Because like, I'm down with pronouns, right? But then they're like, oh, I'm a zir, this and that. And it's like, okay, so imagine me on the BART. And I'm just like, hey, what's up, bro? And I'm like, oh, I'm not a bro, I'm a this. And I'm like, okay, so that's like a 10-minute combo I'm not about to have because I don't even know you.
Yeah.
And it's not, and sure, people can say, well, that's xenophobic, but it's like, I don't care that he's that or she's that or they're that, right? It's just that whatever I thought I wanted to get to know, it's just like, do I want to make it through all of that? If
it's a lot, man.
It's just a lot. And it's not a judging of them as a person so much. It's just like,
I'll judge them. Yeah, I'll judge them right away. Yeah, I'll fucking. There's a lot of fucking pronouns. It's like 70s, like some colleges. You can't expect people to know that.
Right.
And
he, him, she, they, he, him, she, her, they, them is like where I'm at with it. Like, okay, that's understandable. But once you get into like super, well, like on Tuesdays, I feel like this. So I technically, like on Tuesday, don't talk to me.
Yeah, now we're getting to just like silly land, right?
Exactly.
Like if someone like tells me, I prefer if you call me like she or they. Yeah, fuck it. I don't
Yeah,
give
for
a
sure.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
exactly,
right. That's
exactly.
right. But you can't get mad at a person for not knowing right off the bat.
Exactly.
Right,
You know?
you can't just like throw a fit as if your whole life's gonna be over that. Because at the end of the day, to me, it's if your world really hinges on whether or not someone calls you like Zer or
Right.
they,
Right, like
you got
purposely.
yeah,
Like,
you
if they're-
got deeper like self-esteem issues than
Right.
than that. You
Because,
really got to
yeah.
look deeper. Like if that's
Right.
really enough to rock your world,
Right, like they're not purposely like it's not like I know that's a trans woman and I'm like, hey bro, and I'm like misgendering them. That's fucked up. But if it's
Yeah.
like I don't know that this person is, a Zier or this or that, and I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? Just off the rip, and they're like, just go right off into it. I mean, it hasn't happened to me much, but a lot of it I think is that because we're on our phone so much, we see a lot of it. But in real life, I will say I've rarely seen those people. When you do see those people, usually they're just like they look crazy in real life. Like everybody's like, what the even the like it's not just like, oh, all the people who like, oh, we wanted like back in the day, like everybody's like, what the fuck are they talking about, dude? Like chill out. Like, so for instance, so I got a thing with white people, right? I don't hate them. I just, what it is, you want to know what it honestly is? And I never said this like outside of anywhere else, outside of my head. What it is the resentment I have. And it's not towards all of them. It's that I have super cool white friends. But because of the system we live in, I have to always check myself. Because I have white friends that I know work hard to get what they've got, to do whatever. But at the same time, I also know the system works in their favor. So in me being happy for them, I also have to not confront it, but like I have to like quell, hey, bro, like that might be true, but this your boy, he did, like, he worked hard for this, regardless to how the system worked for him. And I resent that I have to feel like that. I just want to be happy for my boy. So I resent that I have to feel like, damn, like, yeah, this nigga doing good. Like, and I'm happy for him. And I'm like, yeah, I'm legitimately happy for him. But like the back of my head is like, for instance, I had a friend at Whole Foods, my boy, right? And then one day I just asked him, like, hey, man, what'd you start at? And we had the same like background. He was like, I think it was like 1175. And I was like, I started at 1075. And from then on, it was just like, and I was like, what'd you do? Like, what were you doing before this? And we was like almost verbatim the same shit. And I just was like, and I asked my supervisor, because I'm just that guy. I'm not going to, like, I'm just going to go straight to it. I was like, hey, bro, like, so how did he end up? And I just want to know what that was about. And they couldn't tell me. And I was just like, it has to be like the study say, like, and that was my first experience, real world experience of like systemic racism. Like I've been, stereotyped. That's whatever. I think everybody does that, every race, blacks, whites, everybody does that. But my first experience of like, oh yeah, you're going to have a leg down versus them having a leg up was that. And I think it stuck with me. And I resent that it stuck with me because, like I said, I have tons of white friends who I'm really proud of and shit like that. But also, I do know what I know. And even me watching them put the work in and do what they doing, it's just it creates a fucked up dichotomy in your brain where you just kind of always got to fight back. Like, there might be a system, but this is a real person.
Yeah.
And I think that keeps me from the black supremacy side of it, where it's like Cracker got, like, Whitey got to go and like we need our own state and everything is racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's an autopilot battle, but it's a battle I wish I didn't have to fight.
You're aware of it at the very least.
Yeah, it sucks, but it sucks because it's not my white friend's fault. It's not a lot of white people's fault, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So I think that's why a lot of people don't even want to talk about it, right?
Because,
that's why nothing ever, like, there's no progress really because they don't want to talk about it. Because that feels
weird saying that shit.
It's a
like,
tough issue, man. Like,
my white friends here to say, like, what the, so you hate me? Like, no,
like,
there is a feeling of like,
I get it, but the reality of it is I only get a little part of it because I didn't go through like what you've gone through.
Right.
Like even as like an Asian and Filipino, honestly, Asians float under the radar for the most part.
I'll be cruising.
Yeah, for the most part, right? Unless I don't know. Well, Harvard. I don't know if you know the story about Harvard where they're specifically making it harder for Asians to get in.
Yeah, I think I did. I hear that.
Because Asians fucking kill it in school and grades and all that, right? And now they're specifically making it harder for Asians to get in, and like so, like it's kind of starting to like bubble. I guess the whole Asian hate thing, that's when like I guess Asian racism like really came out. But even then, you notice with the whole Stop Asian Hate movement, it never had the same like popularity, I would say, or the same power as Black Lives BLM, because everybody knows for the most part Asians have been skating by.
Right.
And, you know, we
Right,
Asians
right.
haven't had to go through what black people have gone through historically, even though the Chinese built the
Right, right, right,
railroads and
right.
all that.
Right. Yeah.
But if we're just talking like everyday life about like, you know,
Like
feeling the system working against you, for the most part,
right.
Asians skate by, you know.
Right.
And you know, but we
Um,
pay for it in the penis department, so there's like
and you know what the most fucked up part about that type of racism, systemic racism is like those Asians are not, they're still Americans. So even if they get out of Harvard as like the greatest nuclear physicists ever,
Uh-huh.
what makes you think that they're gonna go to fucking wherever their ancestors are from? They're totally alien to like, they might have that home culture, but home culture is only a lot of times 6 to 8 hours of your day. For the most part, they hanging with niggas, they hanging with white people, they hanging with Americans, right? So like the idea that like, cause it's all white people that still run the country, right? But the idea that they still have that like, we can't let these Asians and these blacks and these other people get in these powerful positions, because it's like, bro, I'm from here. This is my country. Like, I care much more about Ohio, even though I hate Ohio, than any other place outside of
yeah.
America right now. Like, you know, and I think that racism misses that part of it and really sets the country back a lot. Like,
You
because
know-
imagine how many Asians are discriminated against where they're like, you know what, fuck it, I don't want to go into this field because it's so white dominated and like semi hostile to me. I'll just go, you know, start this little business. Not a little business, but you know, I'll just do, you know, lab work. I'll just, you know, I'll make 200,000 a year. I don't really want to ruffle no feathers when I could have made some revolutionary thing, you know? And it's just like, they're still American at the end of the day.
No,
Once you see that, it's bullshit.
That's, I mean, you know, Whoopi Goldberg said this maybe like 20 years ago or so, and I was younger. Yeah, I just kept mine open because it's hard to, since we're holding our mics, it's fucking hard. And I think I was probably like 20, 21 when I heard her say this, and she said at that point, you know, one of the problems with race or with America is like this whole thing, like this when this thing started where like I'm saying like she was saying, oh, I'm considered an African American. It's like I'm not an African American. I'm an American.
Oh my God.
You know, it's like this is like, and the whole thing is, you know, everyone all of a sudden everyone started getting put into their own little boxes and categories
and seen through that lens specifically,
I
good
know,
or bad.
yeah. I mean, but I think like if you're looking for unity or cohesiveness, the last thing you want to do is be putting everyone into like separate little boxes, right? And
Yeah.
as I got older, I finally realized like, oh yeah, like that's actually true. We shouldn't look at her and just think African American. No, she's a fucking American.
Yeah, right,
like you
right,
said,
right.
like the Asians, they're not fucking Asian. They're fucking
They're
American.
Americans,
Yeah.
They weren't fucking. This isn't like the 1920s. They like just came over. Like they mom pottos. Be like, bro, they've been here for like 30 years. Like,
yeah, so that's the way like I feel too, like with the whole like 70 different genders thing. At the end of the day, I think that's gonna separate people more than it is gonna actually bring people together.
I mean,
Having like a little box for
you
every
have
single
to make
thing.
it simpler. Because like I was saying on that, like I was saying it the other day, if you give an idiot right something to think about, it's a bad thing. Idiots shouldn't be thinking. Idiots should go to work, right, and be taken care of. Like you know, because they're idiots, bro. Like not in a bad way. They ain't the greatest of thinkers, right? So it's like make it simple. This is what I tell people. Like for instance, you know who doesn't have a transgender problem? Thailand, because they just like has 3 sexes: man, woman, trans.
Yeah.
Super simple.
Yeah.
Super simple to the point where it's like if you were to pull it, it's like, oh yeah, that's my girlfriend. Da, da, da. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here, it's like your girlfriend's got a dick, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Or is he just a crossdresser? I don't know. Or wait, is it? You know, it's so
there's
much
too
different
many
shit, and
fucking
it's so many ways to get
categories,
offended. Where if it was just man, woman, trans,
Yeah.
eat trans either way, man, woman, trans. Who gives a fuck? Like in one generation, it would just be like normal, but the more they try to, no, I'm this, and that. I'm this. For instance, there's a comic I got into it with in the scene, white comic,
Okay.
and I'm not gonna say his name's not important, but the reason I got mad was we
You
were
can
making
tell me afterwards.
Right, we were
Yeah.
making race jokes, and I made a Asian race joke to somebody, and then this one comic had made a race joke to me. It's pretty funny too. And I want to tell it, but it was a really good joke, so I'm not gonna do it. I ain't gonna bust him. I'll tell you later. So he tells it. It was pretty funny. The other guy tells one, and it was just a shit joke. Like it was just a bad joke, and I was just like, that was like lame. So I do my bit, right? Get whatever. I get off stage, and he's like waiting for me after the thing. I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, hey man, I just wanted to apologize about that, and that pissed me off to the point where like I was just driving home, like I almost cried thinking about it. Like, you think I'm some type of victim? Like I'm a comic. We're workshopping race jokes, and like your joke didn't land. So like, what you think? Like, and after that, I was just decided to be cool off him. And then like it came a point where he was like, he kind of got that vibe. I was like I do something to make you mad. And I was like, bro, like I just obviously don't like you, right? And I told him how I felt and shit. And I was like, so just find another black friend. I said, I know what you want. You want like, you want to like you want to feel how you feel about black people, which I'm not saying you want to hang us, but you want to feel how you feel about black people. But then it's like, oh, I know John though. And like any guilt I have, like I can just play it off with John. I was like, there's a million black people out here that's going to be your friend. It's just not me. And that was the end of that one.
Yeah, you got to tell me what that is afterwards.
Funny story.
You know, it's funny you brought that up because I was over in Sebastopol the other week. Myself, Roman, Leo, Natalie, Vanessa, and Luis Perez went up there for a mic.
I know those names.
Yeah. You met them before. So we're up there, and I've never been in that town before. It's basically all white people, right?
What town is this again?
Sebastopol.
Oh yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I thought that was in England. Like.
Yeah. And I was like, so we're waiting for our turn there. One of the comics goes up. Oh my god, he makes some joke about how facial recognition doesn't work in China because they all look the same, right? But
and I've heard that a million times.
Yeah, but they just, it was just yeah, exactly. That was kind of the response from us. It's like, oh, okay, that's
kind of hacky, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, he could have crafted it better. I think, but I don't think anything. Who cares?
It's not like I'm offended. It's just that was a bad.
It was a bad joke.
Yeah, it's just a bad joke.
Just a bad joke that didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work, and so he didn't know I was there. So I go up, and then when he sees me, then I come back down, and then I pass by him, and he immediately apologizes to me for the joke. It's like, you guys, we're fucking comics, dude.
Yeah,
like,
that is so offensive, and and it was offensive because earlier that night we were having big discussions. There was another comic. I gotta tell you this story.
Yeah,
and they were just like asking me like, I forgot how it started. Oh, I had some jokes about blacks and Jews and how we're pretty much the same. I was like, but as a little bit of the joke, right? I don't have it all the way out, but it was like, Jews are like designer minorities. Blacks are like white tea minorities. You can buy blacks 3 in a pack, name them what you want, Toby, whatever. I said, if you get Jews coming at you in a pack, you're probably getting canceled. And then it was like the K word. I was like, you say the K word, all sales are final. I said, you say nigger, you could just apologize. They're workshopping, right? And so they kind of were like out of nowhere, the one who like apologized. And I think this is why he felt weird. He was like, well, I'm just saying, like, what do you think? Because, I always bring up the Holocaust shit. Like, I'm saying that didn't happen. Like, I was never even brought it up. It's just like, we're just the same person. Like, everybody thinks we have big dicks. I was like, what did I say? Rich people hate Jews because I said rich white people hate Jews because they think they got all the money. Poor whites hate blacks because they think we're messing up the neighborhood. The whole time it's just a white guy at the top,
Yeah.
And they were like, he asked me, like, what do you think the worst thing is that like a black man goes through? And I was like, okay, we're going to do this here. And I was like, well, you want to know honestly? I said, it's not. I said, you probably think like police brutality, racial profiles and shit like that. I said, not really. I said, when I wake up, the first thought I know is that I'm black. I said, and when I do comedy, I can't be George Carlin, an observational great comic.
Yeah.
I have to be, it's like, oh, look at this black. And it's like my attributes are, I mean, I know attributes are supposed to be an advantage, but it's like my attributes are like a unfound advantage in, like, look at this black guy. Or you, if you're becoming like this super great comic, it's like, oh, this great, one of the greatest Asian comics. And it sullies what we do. Like, honestly, you put Asian or black before it, it sullies what we do. I'm a business owner. Mm-hmm. You're a business owner. Oh, this is a black owned business, shop black. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, I'm for supporting your neighborhood and all that. But it's like, when you do that, you take away from what you're actually doing because you make it seem as if, not that it's even something special to it, but as if it's special that you made it. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like an asterisk.
Exactly. An asterisk, like, oh, and I'm retarded and I scored at 100 too. That's crazy, right? Like I really, and I'm super pro black and like pro, minority, anti-racist, whatever. But it's like, I really don't like the black this, Asian that, this and that. Like, and that's one of the things I think about all the time with my comedy. Like, I'll never be an observational comic. It'll be like, he's this great black mind.
That's funny. It's like I don't even think of people in terms of observational or whatever. I just think of people comic.
Oh yeah,
it's like everyone has a different style, but literally I don't even like think of like a woman as like a female comic. To me, they're a comic. Yeah. They're not funny, but I'm just fucking around.
Right.
I'm just fucking.
But white women ain't funny. No, I know. Like in the scene that we're in personally, I know a gang of funny white women. So shout out to them.
I know a bunch of
funny white women in our scene, but I also know a lot of like what I call the event brighters. Oh, it breaks my soul. You go out to a mic, you're like, all right, I made 3 mics tonight. You get there and they're like, Peggy Sue and Pepper Red got 10 minutes. They bought 2 drinks, got 3 people here, and they signed up on Eventbrite a week ago. You're like,
but that's also just the reality of the level we're at right now too.
It's the grind, right?
But, yeah, so I'm just fucking around people or fucking comics who can't resist saying shit like that. The jokes right there. You just gotta go for it. But that's one of the things. When I was doing the videography and I started doing stand up, I swore to myself, like, I'm never gonna do all Asian shows because I can't stand that shit,
Right.
Because especially because I go in hard on Asians in my stand up. Like it seems like a lot of Asian comics can do that because one thing that really annoys me about Asian culture here in America is Asians just fucking stick to themselves.
Yeah, y'all do. Unless you grow up like it's like no choice. Like everybody around me was other.
Yeah.
Like y'all really do just like
that fucking and like annoys the shit out of me, right?
It's just a culture thing, like
Asians just don't want to get out of their comfort zone, to be perfectly honest.
Gotcha.
It's just the easy way. It's just the easy thing. It's unconscious, really. It's not as if they're consciously doing it. It's
like,
just
they don't have friends. It's just like, hey, you want the easiest path? Chill out.
Yeah, but like 99.9% of the time, right? If you see an Asian out with some friends, those other friends are gonna be Asian.
Oh yeah.
If you see an Asian couple, I mean, like I said, they're gonna be both Asian. It's just like in
Berkeley, they're almost exclusively male, white, female, Asian.
Of course. Of course. So it's like Bobby Lee says, those women are fulfilling a fetish for those white guys.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, you could see it too, just by the way they kind of like. It's like sometimes you like, I don't know, maybe I'm just projecting, but sometimes like, oh, like you like, and I see a lot of it because I'm there every day. So I'm like, I've seen them for like the whole school year. They look pretty legit, and then you'll see one, and you're like, oh, okay.
But to be fair, I mean, a lot of people have a thing for Asian women.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So it's just
I got a thing for Koreans. They think it's Asians.
Yeah, like, it's just unfortunate that it doesn't transfer over to Asian men. It's like,
I ain't gonna lie, a lot of hip hop Asians been coming up though.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. Like you gotta have a kind of like I also do math, but I also have a Go Grill, which I got through math. So what do you want to do? Like,
hey, I mean, fucking Koreans dominate the breakdance competitions all over the world, right?
I think Koreans are like black Asians.
Mm-hmm.
They just like not like obviously like like some black dude that created a Korea, but like I be looking at Korean women and I be like, but you got a nigga nose. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they got some little nigga nose, like bigger noses and shit. They know how to fry chicken real good. And I'm like, they women real thick. Not that, I've seen thick Asian women through all type of Asians, but like Korean women have that like thick, like
that's all right. You like
somewhere.
Korean,
it's a GI somewhere in your family. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's why I think Filipino women, I have to say, I mean, maybe I'm biased because, I'm Filipino and I'm married to a Filipino woman from the Philippines, right? But like all the travels like I've done around the world, I would say your average everyday girl that you run into, there's a lot of beautiful women in the Philippines compared to like other countries. Oh, yeah. I mean, like here in California, it's different and it's kind of unfair because you're getting people from all over the place.
Yeah, so
here,
much
right?
different shit that it's hard to kind of quantify.
It's polluting the statistics.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yeah.
Like, she hella fine. Where you? I'm from Portland.
Yeah. Right? But like on my recent trip to the Philippines, when I just got back, I had forgotten. I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of like beautiful like everyday women that you just see all over the place over here. It's like, oh wow, I'm so glad I'm married. It was like, no, it's like, I am glad I'm married. Don't get me wrong. As funny as honestly never,
and it's effortless too, right?
Yeah,
like it's not like American. Like we see a bad one in America. Even sometimes they're naturally beautiful. A lot of them, whatever. But sometimes it's like there's a certain kind of like, oh yeah, they're bad and look how she dresses. Where like a lot of these other countries, it's just like I went to Colombia recently, and I'm not from Colombia, but
I can imagine, dude.
But there are blacks down there, so I go down there and I'm like, oh shit, everybody's black. But I was like talking to my partner, I'm saying, why is there so many casual tints? I'm like looking at somebody's grandma, and I'm like.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about like thickness and curves, I mean, Hispanics in general, oh my God, man. It's like, this is turning into a great podcast.
Yeah.
I shit on female comics now. We just turn into this misogynistic, objectified
I tell
women.
people all the time, listen, man, I try my best, but listen, I'm not saying misogyny is good, but I just tell people like this. In reality, you'll drive yourself crazy. Like, all you can do is try to instill your kids to be better. Like, for instance, I'm not as piece of shit as a man as my dad wasn't a piece of shit, right? But I'm saying by like current standards, it'd be like, oh my God, he did what? But it's like, I'm a better man than he was. So my son will be a better man than I am. You know what I mean? My son will have things like, oh yeah, like gay people are just gay. Like, I didn't grow up knowing that. I had to learn that. My son will just know, yeah, gay people are just gay. So he won't have that hang up and have to deal with the homophobia and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll just be what it is. But like, gosh, I forgot what we were talking about.
Well, you know, but that's the funny thing. 'Cause I was listening to Ali Sadiq.
Yeah,
Like how,
I know.
Yeah, he was on Joe Rogan, and there really does seem to be like a stereotype, like black people don't fuck with the gay shit.
It's weird. We do, but we don't. It's kind of like in an Asian way, right? How you guys say you're close knit. We got tons of gay people in our family and community. We fuck with them, but like for whatever reason, black people just have to have it known that they don't fuck with gay people in mass. But like the gay people in the community are fuck. But don't get me wrong, they do get discriminated against. I'm not saying it's peaches and cream. I'm not saying that. They do get discriminated against, but usually once they grow up, like, oh, that was a dude playing with dolls. Like initially you just grow out of it because you know him. Like, you know, and initially most of the time the fear of straight dudes is he wants to fuck me or he's gonna do something to me, and it's like he's probably just gonna find another gay guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so there's a inclusivity once we know you and we grew up with you or you're in there. But if you're like outside gay or you are what black people consider the agenda of gay, if you're outside coming in, they just don't fuck with it. Like, I don't care because I grew up with a lot of gay people and I just was lucky enough to have a decent education. I grew up in Berkeley and shit. So it's easier for me to come to grips with shit that I thought was like, oh my God. But yeah, like inside we fuck with you. Outside it's like, keep that gay shit over there. Even though we have gay people that we love and fuck with and like we'll fight for and all. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Because I don't know if did you know about the compound over in Oakland by Bump Jesus, rest in peace, Bump Jesus.
Bump Jesus.
Yeah,
made the legend.
Yeah, so it's a black room, and I used to I was like one of the handful of like up and comers. I would do it all the time, right? Because he, like I said, man, he was just so generous with the stage time over there. You know, he'd let you, as an open mic, he'd let you do 10 minutes in front of a real crowd. You know, he always had a crowd there.
My first 20 was Bump.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're sharing the stage with fucking Rico the Great, you know, Tony Sparks and all that. Right? So you're so generous. But, you know, it's a black room, right? And I would normally do really well. But one time I just started making like gay jokes. And they did not fuck with that at all. So I was like, okay, yeah. It was really funny. What happened was, because I like to just riff like the first like minute or two. I'll do crowd work, right?
Right.
And there was some sort of festival going on, and there was like 5 Portland comics from who were in town, and he Bump let them up, and I think they were all black, so I just made a joke yeah, you know, Bump is getting harder to get on the show. You see, like Bump just let on the whole black population of Portland, right? And then I said, oh man, you know how hard it was for me to get on the show? It's like I had to suck Bump's dick, you know, to get on the show.
Everyone's like, yo.
No, but here's the thing, like it was just like fucking silence at that point. And then I had this whole like thing where I was gonna recover and say, you know what, I'm just joking, you know. It's like, but I forgot to say like I'm just joking and everything, so I just left it at I sucked Bump's dick, and there was just like this like just like awkwardness in the air. It was palpable, dude. And I was just like, and I didn't realize it until I was driving home that I left it at that. I was like, fuck! Oh my God! I came back the next week and you know to address it because I couldn't leave it like that. Like I let Bump show, and then when I got there, like they're all looking at me like, Mike, don't say it again, please. Like it's not gonna go. I was like, I told them I'm gonna fucking say it again, right? But I was like, I gotta explain the situation, and I told them the whole story, and then I was driving home. I was like, shit.
Yeah. That's the worst when you bomb and you know like comics we bomb all the time, so we're used to it. But like when you bomb and you know the reason, it hurts. Yeah. And you're like, all I had to do was fucking do that.
Yeah. Like, so it's like it became they weren't fucking with that gay shit at all. Dude. I was like, okay. I was like,
it's funny. So I do the Do Too Much mic on Friday. Shout out to Do Too Much, Louis Belton. Them every Friday. Rob Benz, quick plug.
Is that the one in Emeryville?
Right there in Emeryville. Yeah, every Friday 8 to 11. My first time there, I bombed so fucking bad. Like, I tried some jokes that I do in the city, which are like gay positive jokes, like the reason why gay men or why straight men are scared of gay dudes, right? or I was like, I have a reformed homophobe joke where I talk about how to get over homophobia, I had to realize that it's just the fear of what we do to straight women, right? But I didn't have it worked out like that the first time, and so it just sounded like a bunch of gay shit. And literally, the host, shout out Skinny Buff, the host, like I got off stage and then like first off the crowd was like verbally like that's hella gay, and then like I tried to like recover by like, oh, like chicks don't eat ass, and like just fucking just, and it's like non sequitur though, like so I'm not even in a joke anymore. I'm just like trying to say something. I get off stage and he's Skinny roasting me like I don't know what the fuck. That was the fastest I ever left the open mic. Like so for the rest of that week, I listened to James Brown, The Big Payback, took all apps off my phone and just rewrite those jokes and was like, they're gonna get these shits. And then the next time I came, it's like you gotta do it and make it clear that you're straight. I don't know what it is about black crowds. It's not just there. It's, with black crowds, like if you make it clear that you're straight, the joke goes well. But if it's like ambiguous that you might be gay, it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's like in their head, they feel like if you're gay and they agree with you, they're sucking the dick too. So it's like, but if you're straight, it's like, oh, he's just joking. Like, I'm just joking. Like, I don't know. It's
that's why I had to go back the next week. I was like, okay, I gotta fucking clear this shit up and redeem myself.
And you gotta go with the same joke because you don't want to run away from it.
Yeah,
so he was gay. That's why you want to say like, no, I'm right here. I'm straight, but here's the joke. Okay, it's right here.
Yeah, that's why I said, oh no, I'm gonna say it again, and I'm gonna do the other half now. You guys are gonna, and it went over really well.
Right.
And I fucking smashed it. But yeah, so. But why is that? Why do you think that is? Like it's inclusive of individuals once you know them.
Yeah.
But in general, so that stereotype is true.
Oh yeah. I think not. I think sometimes it gets overblown. Like a lot of shit black people do. It's always like they make it like it's the worst version of it. I think it's no more homophobia than any normal patriarchal home. But it's like this. I explained it like this. I got a joke, right? The reason like we commit murders disproportionately, like right, whatever, right? But the reason all the white murders, which are happening way more, aren't on the news because it's lame shit. It's like Bobby got mad at Christina because fucking she slept with the neighbor, so he poisoned them both, shot himself in the garage. Now, Javante pulled up in a 745 Beamer, dressed in designer, $10,000 outfit, didn't stop the car. Two of his partners hopped out, brand new military-style Dracos, shot up the whole block, 5 people dead. They were also in designer. They were also in nice cars. The greatest of rap music was playing during this. As a newscaster, what is that gonna grab more attention? Like block politics, like, or the same amount of people will die. But it's like, oh, he walked him down. Look at this walk down. Like, oh my God. But it's like that dude shot his whole family. Like, what about the dude who shot his whole family? That happens like almost every day, probably. But it's like, look at this walk down though. Like, that's a Gucci belt. That's a $300 Gucci belt. That's pretty saucy.
You know, I will say, because I actually interned at a news station early on in my videography career. I'm not gonna say which one because
right. Don't want to burn no bridges.
No, not that I don't want to burn bridges, but I don't want to get in any legal trouble here because honestly, I didn't want to do the internship because I hate news in general because I know it's just all about the ratings. For them, but
it's as important as it should be. They make it about the ratings.
Yeah, right. Because it really shouldn't be based on ratings, right? It should be. I don't know what it should be based, but yeah, but like all my my judgments about the news organizations in general was basically confirmed on like during that internship because I remember one time like a story had come in and it was like it's about a murder in Oakland or something, and what they were excited about was being the first to cover it so they can get more ratings out of it. Like they were just, I think we're gonna win this evening, on this, and it's like, yeah, you guys are pieces of shit.
Yeah, we're out there laid out in the street.
Yeah, you guys are. It's exactly what I thought it would be, and like I understand that's the job, and I guess is it really their fault? I mean, they didn't create the system, but then again, they're a part of it too, and they're perpetuating it.
It's like
right?
the white people in the system thing, right? Where it's like these people individually. You know that coworker's a great person, got a family, would give a lot of people the shirt off his back, but it's like he would also say, "I have to be the first on the scene."
Yeah,
like he would also like, "Oh, they're gonna shoot him right now. Get the camera out. Don't say anything. They're gonna shoot him."
I mean, if you could have seen, they were basically salivating over this. It was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, man. I haven't been in any newsrooms, but I could imagine.
Yeah, and then I remember like one of the things I was doing is I was writing what they call topicals for it. So the topicals are, like just before the actual news program starts, there'll be like a quick 30-second commercial like, hey, here's the stories we're going to cover. We're going to do this and that. And I remember a part of my training was, like, here are the stories of the day, pick out like 3 stories and write like a 30-second thing about them. And I picked out another like killing in Oakland, right?
Right.
And then I was just like straight up told, the sad thing is like this happens all the time. We don't we don't need to put that in the topical. And it's like it's just another killing in Oakland. I was like,
you got reprimanded?
No, I didn't get reprimanded. It's just like they were just giving me the reality of it, right? I'm just like,
like, damn,
man, this is really what it was like. That's why I didn't want to be in news in the first place, because I knew that's what it was about. But it was just like, it was just confirming for me, like, oh yeah, okay. And
this is a sick system. You got to do what you got to do. Like, I learned to stop being mad at people. Like, there are certain people where it's like, okay, now you're going too far, right? Billionaires and shit. It's like, come on now, dude. Like, you keep doing shit. You're never gonna go.
That's an interesting thing with the billionaires, right? They're like the uber rich. Is like
almost every billionaire. I feel like, unless you like the low billionaires, like if you like got 1 billion and you're like 50, I'm like, all right, you probably saved up, got like in the stocks a couple times, maybe you had a like entertainment career, Jay-Z. If you're like a rich white dude and he's like, you've been a billionaire for like 20 years now, like you're up to like hundreds of billions, 35. I think it's like you're doing something just ultra illegal that's the only way you can afford it. Like, I don't want to say it on here, but I think you're Epstein and shit, because why else do you need like the world could crash tomorrow, and like if you have like $1 billion liquid like cash, the world could like stop and like you be okay forever still.
I think because I've been reading a lot more about, because I used to really resent rich people, man. Like growing up poor the way I did, I used to really resent rich people. But I was reading this book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and it like they make a good point where instead of like I feel like money is just kind of like an accentuator of the kind of person you already are. So like if you're like a good person who gives to charity, when you actually, if you make a lot of money, people end up just giving more to charity. Whereas if you're an asshole and you come into more money, you just become a bigger asshole, right? And instead of like resenting like rich people, maybe I should be focusing on like breaking down, okay, how did they do it? How can I do it for myself so I'm in that position then? As opposed to just having this blanket reaction like, no, fuck rich people. They're the fucking problem. How can I make myself into that situation to begin? But one, like, I guess just to play devil's advocate, because I think what happens like with these ultra rich people, the ultra billionaires, I don't know if it's so much about the money, but it's more so about that whatever they did to get there, it's kind of like
it's always shady.
It's not just that it's shady, but it's like it's winning. It's always about just continuing to win. Then the money is almost just kind of a symptom of whatever it is that they're addicted to, whether it's like making the business dealings or getting away with something. And the money itself is just, it's like I said, it's like it's an after effect. It's a nice after effect. So it's not so much about the accumulation of more money, but it's more about like feeding that urge to like continue to win, whatever that means, whether it's doing something shady or figuring out a new like business or something like that. But I'm sure there's fucking hella evil like a billionaire. I do believe that there's probably not, I want to say it's Illuminati, but most likely there's probably anywhere between 5 to 10 really uber rich people who really decide what happens.
Oh yeah, there's a whole. It's 3 companies that own everything, and they all sit on each other's boards. I think it's like Vanguard, BlackRock, and if not Prudential, it might be one other one. But they own everything. They have I think either like over 50% in most companies, and then they each sit on each other's board. So I don't think it's like you said, it's not so much Illuminati so much as like it's just how shit works. Like say if me and you come up with a great concept of a comedy club that like is about to take off, only the people we fuck with are gonna really win in the beginning. Like anybody coming later is gonna be at our behest of like, oh, you're never gonna win like us 5 though. Like we made this shit. We got the chains. Like what I started to do, because I had to come to the grips of like, I hated rich people, but I knew I wanted to be one because I know what it allows. So I started to tier them. I'm not mad at the mom and pop who's 40 and they got like 5 million in the bank because they own 3 chain of grocery stores, but they pay their workers, 15 an hour, something decent, I'm not mad at them. But like a person like Jeff Bezos, to where it gets to where like you're doing so much harm and like not paying your workers, the way you do the environment, all this shit, that the money you give back at that stage is like, I shoot you in the arm, and then I'm like, here go a Band-Aid, my boy. Like, you'll be okay. Pour a little alcohol in there. Won't get infected. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So I respect it up into a point. Like, it just depends on how you get it. Like, a billionaire like Jay-Z, and I mean, he's a capitalist like the rest, don't get me wrong, but a lot of that is entertainment, and it's over. He's like 50 now. It's entertainment, it's overtime, it's stocks, it's art, and it took him to be 50, and it's like, it's not just liquid cash, whereas Jeff Bezos is like, bro, everybody uses Amazon. Like, why does he have that? Like, you know, like, and it's not that, and like, for instance, like when it comes to like, not to get too political, but when it comes to rich people, I'm not a person that's like, take all of their wealth and just give everybody an equal playing field. But it's like, I wanted to go to school, but once I realized how much that shit cost, it was like, ooh, I might never get a job in linguistics though. Fuck that.
Well, you know what? As a linguistics degree graduate,
oh, seriously?
Yeah. I can't tell you that shit's fucking useless. Dude.
You see, man, you know, it was Noam Chomsky who, like, because I got into him through politics, and then I read a couple of his like linguistic theories, and I was like, that's interesting.
It's good if you want to be like in the academic world.
Yeah.
But anything outside of that, it's not like.
As much as I would like to be in the academic, I don't have the personality for it. I've been done fought somebody.
Yeah, like, so you're not missing out on anything. I can tell you, as like someone who graduated in linguistics.
Right. My bad,
yeah, it's all right, dude. But yeah, I know, because the idea of linguistics sounds so like sexy and appealing.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
Yeah, it really does. That's what drew me into it. But when I got into like the nitty gritty of it, it's really like it's like outside of the academic world. There's really no purpose for it.
Like you got to be like into machine learning and like that type of shit.
Yeah,
Even that
I suppose like it would help. But yeah, but it's I don't know. I mean, look, I haven't kept up with my linguistics, information. I imagine it's
I only took one class. I dropped out.
Yeah, a very small part of it, because I think what most people assume linguistics is the connection between language and culture, but it's really not that.
No. It's not that.
It's the science of languages.
Like what
and
made a
structure.
caveman think like "hey" is "hey," like, or whatever, like speech and.
Yeah, it's really more so like how different languages, the verb, the subject, and object are in different
it's
places.
It's syntax and like mathematical.
Yeah, and then the why do these vowels only come after these letters, and they don't come after other letters. Or just like you can start to see where it's only really like an academic pursuit for the most part.
Do you speak two languages?
Yeah.
Do you like what was that, Tagalog and English? So like, have you ever heard Spanish? But you know how the verb structure is though, right?
No, more so like I'll hear Spanish words, because obviously in Tagalog there's a lot of words that were taken from Spanish, because we were colonized by Spain, right? But in terms of the structure, like my best friend's Mexican, he can speak Spanish to me, and I'll just pick out words I won't necessarily like understand like instinctually. Oh, I know that that's the verb, the object. Okay. No, it's not that similar. Yeah.
I was meaning like so when you hear like those words, like I can't speak Spanish, but like if they're talking to me in Spanish, if I hear like boy and this, is like, okay, I know in English the subject's supposed to be here, but in Spanish supposed to be here. So I'm at this part of the sentence. So like what was probably said in those words I didn't know.
Well, you're smarter than I am. I honestly I don't pay attention to that. But that's a good point. I mean I guess that's one use for linguistics in real life right there. That's actually really useful if you're going into places where it's not.
It helps a little bit, but it does nothing for you for like Chinese. It does nothing because it's so different. And it's just like, okay, I'm at your mercy. Bro.
Yeah, you're probably the first person I've ever met who's actually interested in linguistics.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, that's like, I did not expect that to come out of anyone's mouth.
Yeah, it's a weird mix over
because I graduated from it and I don't like it. It's like, but I mean, that's. Since you brought it up, just how crazy expensive college is these days, right? I feel like, it's pretty much proven at this point. Most colleges they're just money making rackets.
That's it.
That's it. That's really honestly all it is. Because if you really, I'm really starting to sound like an old man. But if you really look at it in terms of like what people do for the jobs, you don't need to go to 4 years of college for what people do to jobs. Like, a lot of this stuff is either like super general that you can learn on a job, or it's super specific that you can spend a year or two just studying.
Right, at a trade.
At a trade of that. Like the idea of spending, what is it, like up to $50,000 a year now for 4 years, like for that is just, it's insane, man.
Man, I'm proud of thinking of.
I know, but because the history of colleges here in America, at least, is. Before, you didn't need those to get a good job. Colleges were just literally for higher learning, for someone who just wanted to learn more. And it was never connected to getting good jobs before.
Right.
And then somewhere down the line, that all changed, and it just became like a factory, because I do believe like we're like the school system is designed to create factory workers. That's what it was designed for, right? And now college is almost kind of an extension of that. It's basically it's designed to create good employees,
right. Managers,
yeah, more than I guess, yeah, managers for college, but that's all. I mean, you can see why I don't fuck with full-time jobs. I don't. It's just there. It's just there to me, and I can't get rid of that part. I wish.
No, because you're right. That's why you can't get it. You're right.
Yeah, because I wish sometimes I was different. That I would be happy like doing like a 9 to 5 job, because life is so much easier if you could really buy into that system. Yeah. It's so much easier, right? But if I just can't, that's not I am. I'm trying to find a different way,
right.
man.
You are 100% right. Like, don't. I bought into that system, and like all I can think about is like I tell people all the time, like when you buy into the 9 to 5 system, you kind of like structure your life around that. So like even now when I date and stuff, it's like, okay, well, I'll have to have this much to have a woman, and then I'll have to have this much time, probably go on about this many trips, probably date 2 times a week just to keep it fresh, because I gotta work, and blah 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 blah. And like your whole life is now revolving around work, because you spend more time at work than you do anywhere else. Like that's what that feeling. You got the right feeling, bro. It's fucking disgusting. Like only reason I can stay at the post office because we got a decent union. But even then, it's like every day I'm walking like 5 to 6 days a week. I'm just walking like maybe 10 miles. And I'm looking at the same mail, knowing it's gonna I'm gonna see it in the recycling bin from the people the next day.
Dude, that's a grind, right? They're just doing the same route, right, every day. How do you like handle that grind? How do you manage?
I'm lucky enough to be a sub, so I got like 5 routes that I sub on when they're off.
Okay.
So that gets cool. Every now and then it'll be ugly though, because like I have a bad route that's super long, and like if he goes on vacation, I have to be there the whole time, which fucking sucks. But they just podcast, music, phone calls. Like it's hella funny. So at the post office, if you have a post office friend, listen, your phone calls to them throughout the day are very important. If they start putting you in a schedule, like they call you at a certain, like they're relying on that. So like I've treated people weird for like, hey bro, 2 days in a row, like 12 p.m. after lunch, I'm supposed to call you. I just got off the phone with my mom for 30 minutes, talked to my girl for 2 hours in the morning. So now 12 p.m. is your turn and you're not here. What am I supposed to do now? This YouTube ain't doing it because I'm used to.
Yeah.
You need that or else you'll go crazy. You'll snap on customers. Like you won't hit them or nothing, but like I had a customer like, oh, there's mail on the ground. And I was like, it's not my block. It's not for me. Like you should pick it up. I don't know. She was like, oh, well, it's there. And I was like, it's probably somebody's mail they didn't want. It looks open. Like, what am I supposed to do with it? Like, and then I was like, you know what? Honestly, I did like tell her, I was like, you're super nice. Cause like, I know you get to know him. I was like, you're super nice. And I was like, this bitterness I have isn't towards you. It's just a bad day today. I was like, I work in these places and I'll never afford these homes. And I see how nice they are. And I see the nicer ones being built. I said, and it's just every day it's the same thing. And said, and then so one day you come and you're telling me to pick this up and I can only do nothing but be mad at you, even though I'm not mad at you. Mm-hmm. And she understood though. They're a really nice family. She understood. And after talking to him, I kind of like, not so much apologize. It's just like, again, this isn't towards you. It's just, it's not what the job used to be. My dad was able to afford a mortgage on this and like be the man of the house, where it's like me, I'd have to like, I can't do that on this. And it kind of pisses me off because I'm like doing more than my dad did when he was doing it,
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't get, right? Because like I really do tend to be more of a moderate these days. Like the funny thing is, as you get older, like I used to be a hardcore like Democrat, like I never listened to anything Republican. But as I've gotten older, and especially once my wife worked, I'm not going to say the county, but like a registrar of voters for a local county here. Mm-hmm. And I just saw she just like told me about all the waste in terms of money and manpower, how inefficient, it's run. It's like, okay, I can see how like a bloated government can be bad now. I can see how why Republicans want small government. Right. Yeah, because it definitely is like overspending, inefficient. I'm sure you see it in the post office too, right?
For sure.
Yeah. But the one thing I just can never fuck with from the conservative side is this refusal to raise the minimum wage. It's just
no science behind it.
Yeah, I don't like any of the hardcore libertarians try to argue that. That's just going to drive prices up. Hey, it's the cost of doing business, man. It didn't used to be this way. Like you said, your dad was able to afford a house. Because the median salary was like it was, matching what cost of living was at that time. But cost of living through inflation has risen up so much, where salaries have stayed stagnant from where they were. It's like, it's fucking simple math, And
production has gone way up.
Yeah, and then exactly. It used to be an 8-hour day where your lunch hour was included as part of that 8 hours. Now it's not. It's 9 to 6. It's not 9 to 5.
And it's 30
right?
minutes now.
Yeah, and it's 30 minutes now, right? So it's like, it's such simple fucking math. I do not get the argument how you can't raise the minimum wage, dude. It's just like,
and there's no empirical evidence for it.
Yeah, it's undeniable. So like I said, so as much as like I do see a lot more, I see things from the Republican side now too. Like I see some of their valid points. That's just one that doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold any water. And there is such a thing about having a free market and letting the market decide. But this whole trickle down economics thing, Reagan's been pushing that since the 80s, and it's never worked.
It's never worked. It's only
it's
went
never
worse.
worked because like, just by human nature, we're talking about billionaires, right? They get to that spot in business by finding any way they can to increase profit, right? So if you release the handcuffs off of them, do you think they're going to give more money back to the people? No.
Right.
It's just fucking human nature, right? It's like, come on.
I tell people that about myself. I say, like, that's why I tell people I'm trying to get these taxes in place so when I'm rich, I don't have to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Like, I like rich people. Like, I feel like, you can be a billionaire, but there should be like a cap. Like, what do you need after 30 billion? What do you need?
Yeah. I mean,
like after 30 billion, give some of that up. Like,
yeah, I get it. If I was making 100 million, and just because I'm making 100 million, I owe 60 million to the government for taxes. Like, yeah, it would hurt. I mean, I could survive it.
Right.
But I guess, the one argument that I do get from the conservatives in terms of like the taxing thing is it's just not being used well.
Yeah, that for sure.
Right.
And that
if it was like Canada where you're getting all these great services,
like
fucking take it.
Itemized thing of like, this is where all your taxes
Yeah, you get free medical for everything.
Right.
You need surgery for a shoulder, it's free. You deliver a baby, it's free. Like, fucking take 50, 60%. Yeah.
I fuck with rich people. I want to be rich. But like, not even poor people, just normal people should be able. I was in group therapy once, and a guy was making a good point. He said, the one thing that drives my depression, anxiety the most is I love working at a grocery store. Not because I'm lazy. I love working at a grocery store. I like meeting new people. I like learning about the products. I like the food. I like the environment. He said, but I'm looked at as a bum. Even though I'm contributing something to society. He said, because of what I'm paid, he said, I'm looked at as a loser. Doesn't matter that I take my job seriously. I'm good at it, this and that. I'm looked at as a loser for doing something I enjoy for a living. Yeah. And I was like, he was like, I can't afford to live. So if I get in a relationship with a woman, she's like, why do you want to work here? And it's like, and he's not like slow or anything. He's just like, I like doing these things, like, and he was just like, and it's just like, that is a big driver of his depression. That's what he was saying. Like, he just can't understand how he can't just, like, why is it fair that he can't live doing what he wants?
Well, I mean, that's why they say like the middle class is disappearing, if not disappeared. Already, right? And that's it's just, it's so nice to have someone to talk about these things. Yeah, honestly, I don't know if I've ever talked out loud with anyone about these things.
It's hard, just more so a lot of people get uncomfortable.
Like me listening to podcasts and like saying, okay, that's a good point of view. What, I don't really agree, but like, that's honestly, people shit on Joe Rogan a lot, but he has a lot of different kind of people on his podcast, man.
He used to be more variety. He still got variety, but the money is in the right a little bit, so I can't be mad at him. But I will say, to give Joe Rogan credit, and people know I be talking shit about Joe Rogan, but to give him credit, he pushes back on like once they go too far. Like, he'll let him push a little bit of like, race science maybe, but once they're like, black people are pretty dumb, he's like, no, we're not about to do that shit. We're not doing that one. Like, he has his limits, but like, he's all over the place, but like you said, he keeps it pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
a little mix.
It's not as if I agree with everything he says, but he's definitely opened me up to other things that I definitely like. I never used to be a gun guy.
Me neither.
I thought guns were fucking horrible, but like he had a way of like talking about in terms of like for hunting, and then just responsible use of it is like. Okay, just because you have a gun doesn't mean you're a horrible person. Like, I see it now, it's like, okay, it's just, I mean, I still think there's definitely way too many guns in America. There's more guns than people, right? But honestly, the reality is we're never going to get rid of that, right? And what's the more responsible thing? Like, get educated about it and have, make people go through training in order to have
Come on,
one,
man.
right? Yeah,
Right.
like to me that's the smarter way out there,
Yeah.
right? And honestly, like when the whole lockdown thing was happening and everything, all of a sudden you see these long lines for the gun stores because people are realizing,
Right.
hey, shit can get out of
Yeah,
control, and
right.
at the end of the day, it's better off you having something for yourself.
not having
You can't rely on.
No.
I'm not like saying I'm super anti-government, super anti-police, but at the end of the day,
If I start tripping and try to kill you in here, like nope. Like if you had a gun, it'd be like, oh, okay, that doesn't happen. But then if it's like, I'm gotta make it to the phone to call the police.
yeah, you want to be able
Like,
to
while
rely
trying
on
to
yourself.
kill him back, like,
yeah,
you know, like-
exactly. You want to be able to rely on yourself for the
Right,
most
right,
part, right?
right.
You don't like, and that's the way like my wife and I are trying to craft our life in terms of money too. Like, you don't want to be dependent on the government for your living
No.
and how your quality of life. You
No.
want to get to a point where, regardless of who's in power,
You're okay.
you're okay. That
Yeah.
should be the goal, right? And I feel like being responsible gun owner like falls in that same category. You don't want be nice for police to help, but the amount of time it'll take them to get
I
there.
need a stick. I need a stick just in case because stick gun.
Yeah.
Because
No, I
I'm
got
not-
it.
yeah,
I got it.
I'm not about to play around. 'Cause You
Yeah.
never know how anybody feel about you. You want to hear a controversial take?
Yeah.
I think every single American, if you're an American citizen, it not only should it be your right, but it's your duty that once you hit 21 years old or 25, I haven't decided on a number, you have to go get a pistol.
Yeah. But you should have to go through the proper
yeah,
training,
exactly.
right?
There's
yeah.
a whole because what I started to learn is like, because everybody says we can do a buyback program, but I'm like, what you don't understand is the gun culture here isn't like Australia, England. Those are looked at as like tools over there. Over here, it's like this is it's weird.
constitutional
It's weird,
right,
It's
yeah.
weird. It's a part
Yeah,
of our culture. So
yeah.
what you do is you make it a part of the culture. So that like you turn 21, you start learning, you start training. 25, you get your government issue pistol. You never have to take your if you want, but you have to go through that. So you're comfortable with guns. So the whole population is now comfortable with guns. It's not foreign to them. It's not exciting to them. Because that's another thing. It's not. I remember the first time I picked up a gun, it was exciting. I started doing dumb spinning. My pa was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like 13, 14. I'm just like, oh, he was like a cowboy, right? It was like, it was. I don't think it was a 357. It wasn't that big, but it was a revolver. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's like, bro, you can't just play with this shit. It's like, but if I was educated about it, I would have known. Like now I know trigger discipline.
Yeah.
You have to always assume it's loaded. Like I know these things. So if you get it into the culture, I think it'll draw back a lot of that excitement. And if you've owned a pistol since, I've owned a pistol and known about them since forever, you're probably not going to be excited to be like, oh, I should go get an AR-15 because I got a little extra cash.
You're gonna have a responsible perspective
respect,
about it. Yeah, the respect. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's the same way I feel about drugs. It's
Same.
It's like just fucking educate people. It's like it makes no sense that beer is legal, but marijuana is not federally, right? It's like beer is way more fucking dangerous than weed. And it was like beer is a drug too, but it's just like
super drug.
yeah. No, so I don't know. That's where, like, I guess that's where, like, listening to the Joe Rogan more opened me up to more things like that because he's very much on that front. And
He did open me up to more ideas that the right monopolizes.
Yeah.
That I would have been averse to because they came from the right.
Yeah,
like discipline. Like discipline. Recently in my life, discipline is a big thing where I'm like, okay, like not to toot my own horn. I feel like I'm talented, not just in just life. I feel like I'm a talented guy.
Yeah.
But I noticed like, where am I at in life? Why am I here? Like, yeah, there are forces that, if not working against me, aren't working in my favor. But there's a lot of discipline I'm missing. That's on me, not my mom, not my dad, not my circumstances, not the money, not the job. That's on me. You know what I mean? And watching Joe Rogan and a guy like David Scoggins gets on there, and I'm like, oh shit, he's not talking about politics at all. He's like, get the fuck up and do it.
Goggins, that guy is
a
fucking
crazy,
animal, man.
Like,
does he do it for you? Does he get you pumped up?
Yeah, because it's like for him, like I hate when they make it political. It's like you don't want to be on the left and lazy and money. It's like, look, you got shit you want to do everything you can to do it.
Yeah.
That's all I have to offer you.
Yeah, don't listen to that inner bitch.
Yeah, don't listen. There's shit you want to do. You're gonna have to do it. And that's it. Everything else is going to go on around that. But as long as you can understand that, you have a path to go forward.
Yeah.
So like Joe Rogan did open me up to like shit like that for sure. Discipline, health, shit like that.
Yeah, discipline's a big one, man. That's the hard one. Like I love David Goggins for what he accomplishes. But like he's a little too angry for me. Like it doesn't pump me up.
Stay hard.
It comes a little too much from the anger side.
Yeah. He's like sitting there.
It's almost like like, almost as if there's always something he's trying to prove to someone.
Right.
Right?
For
It's
sure.
just like, it's like, I don't know. I just like, for me, it's like that seems like an unhealthy perspective to go.
Yeah.
I appreciate the discipline aspect,
Right,
but
right,
I feel
yeah.
like there's a different angle to come in at discipline other
There's some
than
hate
like
in the morning right there.
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Because as much as I've gotten older, I try not to fuck with negativity. Honestly, man, it just doesn't. I don't know. It just kind of it does you no good to focus on it and to really like let that seep into your life. Obviously, there's negative things in the world. I'm not like Mr. Sunshine. Hey, it's always a bright side coming here. But I try not to let it pollute my inner circle and my inner thoughts because it just at the end because it's a slippery
poison.
slope, man. Yeah, it's a poison.
It's addictive.
Yeah.
I deal with negative. I deal with negativity. It's like the only reason it's manageable for me is because it's not violent negativity. It's not like hate, but it is like the worst thing might happen, John. Like when I get on stage, I tell people all the time, if I get on stage too confident, I'm gonna kill it tonight. It's like I do bad, but if I get on stage, like, you're gonna suck. You're gonna fucking suck. You know you're gonna suck. Nobody's gonna laugh.
Yeah.
It's like I'm already starting from the bottom. Can only go up from here.
Yeah.
But in doing that, I've noticed, and sometimes it helps. I call it like being humble, but it is a slippery slope because it's so easy. It's hard to be positive when you're getting fucked up, but it's easy for me when I'm having a bad day to be like, yeah, let's lean into this.
Yeah.
I don't have your fucking package, dude. I don't know what you want me to do about it. Like, instead of just being like, hey, I'm sorry. If here's my supervisor's number, you can, it's hard to do that because it's easy because it feels good. It's an actual feeling that comes with being negative that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to say, oh, it's just negative and it didn't work for me. So, like, no, that shit felt good. Especially when you're right and being negative.
It feels real good.
Ooh, right here.
It feels real good. But the thing is, like,
but it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Once you get caught up in that and you start doing that all the time.
It's reflexive.
Yeah, and but it eats away at you, and you're not gonna progress at all. Like you're being stuck in that
I'm
mindset.
fighting that shit every day. I'll be fighting that shit for like the last 2 years. Like, because that's how that's how I grew up. It's not like for whatever reason. I want to say around age like 17, I adopted like this kind of asshole-ish. I'm the same person I always was, but kind of like, and then like, but it was easy. So then the negativity like latched onto that, and then it was like, oh yeah, this is great. This feels great. This feels great. And it's like now at 30, I'm realizing that, dude, not only is that not healthy, like it's cool now because I'm a semi young, kind of attractive. So what happens when you're 40? You're not so charming.
Yeah.
Smile ain't as bright. Eyes don't flicker as much.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna be a fucking old ass alone loser, dude. You don't want that. So you need to start working, bro.
Bitter as hell, right?
Exactly, bitter.
Yeah.
Like you need to start working. So I've been dealing with it.
And I feel like there's a lot of it in the comedy community.
Oh
yeah. And I get it, right? Like we all feel like we should be getting booked more than we are because we all see the flyers for shows of like these motherfuckers again. Again? Are you fucking serious?
Right.
That person ain't even funny. It's like that's like half of the flyer, right?
Right.
And so I feel like the saltiness is just a natural reaction. I don't deny. I feel that too, but you can't let that consume you. It's like because that's just the reality of it right now. Instead of like letting it consume you. Well, try to figure out, how can you get on more shows then? Are you reaching out to enough people?
Exactly.
Are you tightening your act and getting a good 5-minute clip so you can submit to more people? Are you going out to different areas and meeting other people instead of just focusing on
where you can get time?
Just like the bitterness of fuck, fuck these guys. They're getting booked. I'm not. And like it feels good and you're right.
Exactly.
I'm not saying you're right. But at the end of the day, it's not going to help you. Yeah, you're not going to progress with it. So like, and I like some of like the young comics that I'm friends with, and I try to give them that perspective. And I get it; it doesn't penetrate because you're young. When you're young, it's just not going to penetrate at that point, right? Because you're right, and you don't want to let that go.
And that's the thing. You are right.
You are right.
You are right. And that's why negativity is so easy to love because you're right.
Yeah.
And a lot of shit, but it's like it's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
But you're right, and it just fucks your brain. And you're like, well, but I'm right.
Yeah.
And then you feel like a punk for like doing it. Like I'm letting them punk me. I'm actually doing the work. I'm putting the work.
Yeah.
But I'm right.
Yeah. That's the hard part because the thing is that's where like
that shit is hard.
Doing videography really helping because like any like creative pursuit is honestly the same in terms of like becoming a success and moving up the ladder. Videography, filmmaking, like with the exception of the highest levels, your quality of work actually has a lot less to do with it than you'd like it to be. It's really just more about the right people know about you and know what you can do, and that's really what it comes down to more than anything. Not just word of mouth. I think networking. You get making sure that your work is getting in front of the right eyes, right? And it's kind of it's the same thing in stand up. This is one thing I really disagree with Joe Rogan about because Joe Rogan says all you should focus on is just being funny. That's it. Just be funny. And that's enough. It's not enough. It's not enough, right? I am a broken record when I say, if being funny was enough, then why isn't Dave Attell selling out arenas?
Right.
Right. I tell you, but Joe Rogan, I like Joe Rogan's podcast, but I'm not a fan of his stand-up.
No. I was a fan of like maybe one special.
Yeah,
and then
there was one special that I did, like the one where he did that Shack Attack routine about the White House.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the one where like he's talking about like I don't believe all women can do what all men can do, because all men can't do what men can do, right?
Right. That was pretty funny, right?
Yeah,
now it's just like loud.
Yeah, it's a lot of screaming, right?
It's like, all right, Joe.
Yeah, but he sells out arenas, right?
Yeah.
But Dave Attell is way funnier in my opinion. Why isn't he selling out arenas if it's just about being funny? So obviously there's more to it.
Yeah. And then you bring in Instagram funny today too, where it's like I've seen multiple people that are ultra funny on Instagram, hella shit, and then you see them on stage and sometimes you have to know, like, you can't see him just once because it's like, okay, well, anybody can bomb.
Yeah.
But then you see him and you're like, oh, this is you not really a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
You just realize that, like, well, I'm in the comedic sphere. So, but it's like, damn, so I got to sit through fucking, this guy got like 40 minutes on the show. This dude gets an hour and a half. And it's like, he's struggling from like the first 15 minutes on. And like,
but they can put butts and
seats, and like it's like you said, learning about the business aspect. Like,
I mean, so what kind of things are you doing for yourself to address more of the business aspects, to try to set yourself up for that?
Funny enough, so it's like a meme on the internet. I bought me a whiteboard, and then I also have a chalkboard. So what I put on the chalkboard was like just ways to promote myself. So I was like, I'm writing a Craigslist copy right now, and it's basically just gonna go into like can do up to 10 minutes of comedy for, let's say, $150, any topic. Like, just give me the topic a week out and I will do it, and it'll be good for $150. Weddings, funerals, cop event, whatever. I hate cops, but cop convention, anything you want, I will do it. Because like I was like, the more people at my job like know I'm a comic, I didn't know it would matter. But they're like, hey, like, so would you do like a church thing? Like, yeah, why not? Like, it'd have to be clean though. I'm like, okay. It's like, oh shit. Like, I start getting those, and like my sister, she's having a baby shower soon. Work sister, she's having a baby shower, and she was like, yo, can you do something at my baby shower for me? And I'm like, oh shit, okay. Wow. She was like, what do you want to hear? She's like, well, I mean, obviously a baby, so some sex jokes, some pregnancy jokes, blah 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 blah. Like, oh, okay, so I'm cooking that up, and I was like, what if I just put that out there crazy? Like, everybody needs shit for events, and I'm like, and people fall out of shit. Like, imagine you had like entertainment, and it's like, oh, the entertainment guy, we need 15 minutes, he's not booked. This fucking dude on Craigslist said he got 10 minutes of whatever we need from him, like, and if they say we need you tonight, like, all right, well, 150 is 200 now. Like I own the internationalasshole.com, so like I'm starting to kind of, how do I want my website to be built? Learning to like fake it till I make it. So I see a lot of comics who I'll see like, oh damn, you're on tour, but they're open mic dates. But what it is it makes it look important. Like, we know it's open mics. We support each other all the time, comics, but our friends a lot of times don't support us until it's like, oh, he's doing something. Yeah. So it's like, oh shit, that guy went to high school. It's like 5 different dates. I better catch one of those, see what he's up to, Yeah. So thinking about doing shit like that as opposed to just on a whim, oh, I'm doing this tonight, guys. Like, okay, John's doing another open mic, Or John's doing that open mic he always does. Where it's like, oh shit, he's got 5 dates. Yeah. Like, that's like 3 different cities. Like, he might know famous people. Who knows who's gonna? All this shit might go through people's heads, and it's just like the more I've learned that the more I take it serious and fake it till I make it, people will fake it along with me. But when the grind of comedy is ugly, so like nobody wants to be a part. It's not like a rap grind, Grind of comedy is ugly as fuck. You're meeting weirdos, stinky places, bars, nobody's looking at you. It's not like a rap concert. You might have an empty venue. Oh, terrible. But everybody's cool. Comics are weird, So like some weird, you know what I'm saying? Like, to where you're like, oh, that wasn't a joke? Like, oh shit. And just we deal with that. We deal with that part of it. But
how's that Craigslist thing going for you?
I'm still writing it. I just did all that last night. But the website and the touring and shit, I've been like kind of plotting out for like maybe the last 3 months, trying to just, so when I drop it, I can website and the tours, and then it clicks to all the little links and emails and shit.
Yeah,
like that.
No, that's actually a good idea, because I think that's something I don't know how many people realize that, is that because a lot of things like circulate in terms of Instagram posts and all that within the comedy community, but the ones who are going to the shows are not within the comedy community. Yeah, it's like we need to be able to get outside of that circle. How do we actually like reach these people and make them aware of us? Right? I think I think, the earlier you can start working on that as you're going up as a comic, the better. So by the time that you're really hitting, you've already got your like fan base, and every time you got a show, hey, you just post it up, and a certain percentage of them will come, and then the more bookings you get, because it is a business at the end of the day. Like I get that, I totally get that. We are at an hour and 23 minutes already, dude. Yeah. Let's wrap this up. Well, you know what? Before we wrap it up, there is actually something I wanted to ask you about, like your handle, the international asshole, and then your emails, John Bourne. Is there like a spy thing that you like?
Yeah. Okay. So funny, true story. I've been addicted to the Metal Gear lore, like the Lord Metal Gear series since I was like. Since I didn't even play the first Metal Gear. I just heard, because I had a 64 not a PlayStation. Yeah. But I remember just like reading about it. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy has it all.
Yeah.
I remember I was 17 years old. I was pretty athletic. Like I was like a super athletic kid, right? And I remember it was Metal Gear Solid 4, Sons of the Patriots. Was it Sons of, not Sons of, it was Guns of the Patriots. Guns of the Patriots, yeah. That came out, and I beat it and was into it. And the military recruiters at our school, and I was like, they want to do special forces. I thought I was going to be fucking Solid Snake. I swear to God, I don't know what I thought was coming from this, but I was a kid. I was like, I'll do it. Like special forces ticket, the recruiter was like calling my house, and like, I was like, Mom, tell her I'm 17 and I'm your only son. I can't do it. She was like,
no, they're fucking aggressive.
I'm his mom. She never called back, but I was like, I looked back on that, and I was like, what the fuck was I thinking, bro? Like, but I do have a thing for like, and even as a kid, because I grew up with like 4 older sisters, so I was like, I did end up having 2 younger brothers, but that was like, they were twins, so I always was outside of that. Even it was like they're my little brothers, but they're twins, and it's like my 4 older sisters, so it's kind of just in my own head, it's like me versus everybody else. So I just sneak around the house and shit, and I just got into like. I just got into that. Like, I like sneaky, like not on no creep shit. Like, I like stealth. I like espionage.
I figured, because I was like, I looked at your handle, then I saw your emails. Like, John, okay, this guy's into this.
I like international crime. I don't know what it is. I have a fascination with like international crime. Like, I have like all my tabs on Google are like mafia bosses. They like the history of the mafia bosses in Italy. Like oh my god, all of that. Like the current mafia boss is still on the run.
Oh really?
Yeah, and he's like. They take on the government over there, and it's just like, what type of life?
Yeah.
And they make last year they made 46 billion euros. Like what type of like day to day they have to have crazy shit happening. It's just such a great. And then spies. I applied for the CIA when I was 21. I was like, they ain't got too many niggas in the CIA. They need me.
So what happened?
I just realized like, but they ain't gonna do shit but put you in the neighborhood to fuck up your neighborhood.
But did your application go any further? Did they reach out?
I don't think I ever got an email back.
Okay, I was like, that's CIA is one of those that's like, if you like interested in any of that spy stuff, like that immediately, that's at the top of your mind. Like, CIA, how fucking sweet would that be?
To this day, I love all of that. I just would never be a part of it, but I'm fascinated by it.
Dude, There's a great podcast, Lex Friedman. He had this guy on.
I fuck with him.
Did you listen to Andrew Bustamante, the former CIA agent, covert agent? You gotta listen to that, dude.
I'm gonna listen to that
Bustamante,
one.
He really opens the doors of what the life is like of being like CIA agent, the reality of working intelligence and all that. It's fucking eye opening, dude. You're gonna like that, and it's a good I think 2.5, 3 hours too. And
perfect background ambience.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna love that. I can't recommend that.
You said Bustamante.
Andrew Bustamante, that's his name. The Lex Friedman podcast. It's amazing. Someone recommended it to me, and I could not stop listening to it. So for sure you're gonna love it if you're into that spy stuff.
Oh yeah. One question for you though.
Sure, go
about
for
the
it.
spy. Okay, this is important, right? Who wins in a fight? They in an elevator. They both just got off work. No weapons. James Bond or Jason Bourne.
James Bond or Jason Bourne? I gotta go Jason Bourne, man.
My man, that's why I got the name.
I gotta go
Once
Jason
I seen
Bourne,
the Bourne
dude.
trilogy, I was like, I low-key grew up on Bond, but Bond not really. I seen him poking it up with a pencil, like
yeah.
He usually beating ass to the neck. Like James Bond got all the money in the world, he really got it out the mud.
Because that Jason Bourne stuff, that's all Filipino martial arts, dude.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, that's what I did for years when I was in the Philippines during my 20s. It's
What?
So
Mike Bourne?
Yeah, so I was doing my best to try to become Batman. Dude. That's been like a driving force for a lot of my life. Like, how can I fucking become Batman? Like, I know I won't be Batman.
Right, but
how can I get close? How close can I get? So Bourne any day. But I will say this about Daniel Craig as James Bond. he's the only believable James Bond to me. He's the only one that actually seemed dangerous.
Yeah.
The other ones,
Chris Bronson seemed like a substitute teacher.
Yeah, it's like
I will pack James Bond up right
he had
now.
like the sophistication and the good looks, but like in terms of like being like a killer. Like I believe
he
Daniel
came off
Craig.
like a football coach.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Like Daniel Craig
Yeah,
at first, like I believe, oh yeah, this guy
You see
kills
them
people.
stairs, you see them cold blue
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah,
I wouldn't fuck
yeah.
with
It's
that
like,
white boy
they
right there.
made
Like,
it violent, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
okay, yeah, I dig this. That's awesome. So why asshole though? Why international asshole?
Honestly, so I was gonna make up something, but I know where it came from. I remember now. It was Kanye West. It was the line in Diamonds from Sierra Leone. He says, "What more could you ask for? The international asshole who complains about when he is old and throw a tantrum like he is 3 years old. You gotta love it though. Somebody still speak from their soul." And like when I first heard that, like you know how people say have religious experiences? Like I don't think about Kanye as like that word itself is like, I'm justified in this. It's kind of where the negativity started at. But that was a big part of my like that bar, like the first time I remember the feeling I had, like I like pins in my face, and I was like, because I probably was mad at the time, so it was like a justification of me feeling like, oh yeah. Oh, and then after that I just ran with it.
Did you listen to his episode on Joe Rogan when he was on?
I don't really listen to like Kanye in the last couple of years because like once it was apparent that it was like, oh, he might be off his Lexapro, it kind of got sad. Like he's just he's just saying shit, you know?
I would recommend that just because I feel like if people listen to the whole thing, it kind of shows that it's not necessarily. He's got some crazy in him for sure.
Oh, he's a genius for sure, but he's also
But what it seems to me is like his mind is literally running like a mile a minute, and like the ideas just won't stop coming.
Yeah,
and he's just got to get it out of him. That's like more what I got out of it. Like, okay, that's how he works. It's kind of like people are gonna kill me for saying this because I'm gonna compare him to Elon Musk, because Elon Musk says the same thing where he actually wishes he could turn his brain off because like the ideas just won't stop coming. I feel like Kanye's got the same thing going on. But the only difference is there's that maniacal ego to it, and there's kind of like I don't know, because he's a fucking like rap superstar, right? So he's gonna have this natural just like this grand flamboyance about it, and this grandiose nature,
culture,
and he like where it kind of leads into like he feels like he can do no wrong because of all that success,
and then he's winning too, so it's you can't really say
so it's just going through that filter. But I feel like he's kind of in that same category where he. Like literally, he's like the ideas just won't stop coming, and it's like it's just bad, man. It's just constantly coming out.
I said I would believe it more with Kanye than Elon Musk. I don't think Elon Musk could do math. I don't think he's smart at all.
You don't think so?
I think he was rich and he made some good investment plays.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's a dummy, not at all. But you've never seen him do math. We've seen every other person that does math do math. You ever seen him solve an equation? Like, and then you look into it. He never invented any. Like, he bought a lot of these companies, and they were smart buys. So he's a smart man, obviously. But the technical aspects, the building of the cars, the engineering, none of it is part of that. So, but Kanye, I think, you know what Kanye needs? Like, I wish I had the boldness of Kanye. Because I think about crazy. That's why I'm always like paralysis of analysis. So I think about shit all the time. But but my anxiety is so severe that I'm scared to say it. And but like, it's just scared. I'm just scared to say it. Like, and sometimes like you'll notice, like if you ever notice me at open mics, like I have this weird nervous energy about me where like, say if we see it, I'm like, what's up, Mike? Blah, blah, we chop it up for a minute, you go by. Then you'll come out, right? Now, you might be cool, whatever. But you might just be in your phone looking, working on your jokes. But because you walk near me and I know you, it's like, but you should say something. Like, or he might think you don't like him. And then that's going to be weird. And like, but that's like with everybody I interact with, you know? Whereas if I was bold enough to not give a fuck, I just wouldn't care. And I could get out either, more of these ideas or like interact with people more. But because my anxiety is so severe, it's like, almost always like fight, flight, or like neutralize the situation. Like make it calm, like make it so that everybody knows we're all cool here, even though nobody outside of me is freaking out in my head,
What's funny is, if you didn't mention it, I would never have guessed, you have anxiety.
And that's why anxiety's fucking crazy. Yeah. I know the thoughts are fake in my head, but it's like two trains, right? They're racing. And one train is like, hey, John, anxiety's coming up. Like, be ready for it. And anxiety shoots out like speed of light. Bam. Ooh. It's like everything negative is going to happen, bro. They don't like you. You don't like them. Everything's bad. Like, news. And then my other side is like, I'm aware of this. Like, bro, calm down. These thoughts are real. Like, bro, you don't even know these people really. Like, bro, chill out. But this one's going faster. Ooh. This one's going faster. So then by the time this one stops and this one catches up to it, I then got to deal with the feeling of like, look at all the shit you didn't do because you had this stupid feeling. Look at that train, none of that came true. And you went this slow at what you were actually doing and could have done. And you met now that you're at the same place with things, and look what none of that happened, and look at all the shit you could have did.
So what kind of things have you found that's helping you deal with that?
One thing, and I try to stay away from it heavy, which is why I only try to do it on like super special occasions or have like one is like alcohol.
Yeah,
alcohol really feels. I've never had an alcoholic like binge like where I was like 6 months just getting drunk every time, but when I do drink, usually it feels so good, and because I don't
takes
feel
the
that
edge off.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my God, is this what it's like? Like, hey, yeah, no, it's not even about talking to women or just talking to people. I don't feel that train is stopped.
Alcohol is good for that. Yeah,
that train is stopped. This train is just smooth sailing.
Yeah.
But I realize, I'm also self-aware. There's another train. Like, hey, bro, you know where this is going too. So like, chill out.
Well, as long as you can you control it, you know what's the right amount just to set you straight, right? It's like
I overshare with people. That's kind of like a way to make me feel like if I let them in on kind of what I'm going through. If I feel like that, then at best they know that I'm not being weird. This is just the brain going crazy.
I feel like that's a good tactic right there. Yeah, I think a lot of people appreciate you opening up because I think you'll find, especially in fucking amongst comics, we're all fucked. We're all fucked up, dude. We're all fucked up.
Listen, comics are so like y'all really think comics are like fucked up because like they're like mad at no. It's like they have serious like psychological issues. Like one dead body at 5 years old, we'd probably be serial killers. Like, like we were lucky enough not to see something bad. You know, like,
it's that fucking spectrum. You know, like we're all over that place. Some people are more fucked up than others, and it really comes out in the way they interact with people. Others, are able to manage it a little bit more and seem somewhat, like normal. Because I mean, that's the one thing. Like even way before I was a comic, like my best friend would always like give me shit. It's like, damn, Mike, don't you just know how to be a fucking normal person and like socialize the way other people do?
Yeah,
I don't, dude. I was like, I don't. I really don't.
I watch my friends do that shit, and like growing up, like I'm in the whole like growing up, I got put in a gang. Like I was 13, right? So it's the homies, like who I grew up with. That's how I was gonna go anyway, right? But like it was even in there. Like I would be on my way to do crime, go hit, and the anxiety's there, but I'm still going to do it. So now it's really fucking me up because I'm like, bro. Like if the police come, you're in the suburbs. There's nowhere you're gonna be able to run to. This ain't Oakland, bro. Like there's no fences to hop. Like this is the suburbs. Like, but it's like, bro, you with the homies, but you gonna not do it? Like you gotta do that shit. You gotta do that shit. And it's not that they're peer pressuring me either. Like at the time, it's just like, I want the fucking nice shit. Like we weren't poor, but we had a lot of kids, so it's like I had decent shit, but I wanted nice shit. I mean, we had nice shit. I wanted the best of the best shit. And it was like, well, I'm gonna have to go open the back door to get some fucking Air Forces, I guess. You know what I mean? And but even in that, I would deal with it before fights and shit. In my head, I'm nervous as hell. Sometimes we might do something, right? And once the excitement of it is over, and like, I feel bad now, and I'm sitting in the back seat, and I'm just like, now what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm just thinking, man. And it's not that I feel like, I'm gonna, like, I never switch up no shit like that, but it's like just being aware of the shit. That's what the anxiety is, like being hyper aware. So it's like I can't push this out of my mind of what I just did. It's not the end of the world or no shit, but it's like, yeah, we might have harmed somebody, we might have took something from somebody, whatever. But it's like, it's not going to eat at me forever. But in this moment, the thought is in my head. And now I'm thinking about it from a moral, I'm thinking about it in metaphysics, right? Like the moral, like damn, like, cause I've had my house broken into, and I know what it feels like. So I'm like, I mean, you're trying to find solace in, well, we didn't hurt anybody. So there's that, and then, but you know what you did. So, but the anxiety still is going to be there both before and after of like, we're going to get caught. And then he's got away. But it's like, and then even worse, cause I come from a good household. So a lot of my homies didn't. So it's like, okay, it makes sense. Right? I come from a decent household. Like, yeah, I'm be with the homies and shit, and like, this is just what it is. This is how it turned out. But it's like, that will play in my mind. I'm aware of that too. Like the one thing that slowed me down was like, my mom had caught me. She opened my closet. It was hella camcorder. And she's like, so you're breaking into houses now? And I was like, my smart ass, I was like, I didn't break into a house, Mom. The back door is unlocked. So I'm not breaking in anything. She was like, and I expected her to hit me or give me a whooping. And she just broke down and cried and was like, bro, I try to do everything I can to make sure you have. And I was like, I've got whoopings for less, And I was like, and I was like, oh my God, like she really means this shit. Like,
well, that was like, it was more like a letdown than like
exactly. And that hurt more than any whooping I ever got. Cause whooping, I'm like, I'm about to sneak out after this shit anyway. But that I sat on that and like cried with her a little bit. And I mean, I still, fucked around, but like, I was definitely more like, all right, I think I should go start selling weed then. Like, worst come to worst. Like, but if I start like going this route, then it'll be like, you start breaking in the home, you start finding guns, you start carrying guns, you start, Like, I'm selling weed, I might have a gun, I may or may not. It's just a different. it leads to different things, you know? And, but that, my mom crying to me in that room, like I said, I still fucked around, but it definitely slowed me down a lot because I had just never seen my mom back. Like, my mom is super strong. I'd never seen her do that shit before. I don't think I'd seen my mom cry before that point. Like, even my grandpa's funeral, like, she might have teared up, but like, she really cried, like, sobbed. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I just, like, to this day, like, talking about it, I feel bad.
Yeah, I feel like just you describing it because I can imagine where she's coming from, right?
And she was right.
Yeah.
I didn't have, like, you know, and it wasn't even like I was just proving something. It's just the way it was, right? All these kids are from different hoods, right? We all moved to the suburbs. Okay, most of the white kids ain't gonna fuck with us. We gonna fuck with each other.
Mm-hmm.
The one homie from a blood set from me. Okay, well, so that's what we doing, you know? Fuck it, like they don't fuck with us anyway. And then it's like you get popular through that. People naturally gravitate. So now you're like, oh, it comes with benefits too. It's like,
yeah.
I had a joke that my mom tried to sign me up for the Boy Scouts, and we went, and they said they were gonna have pancakes. They didn't have pancakes, so I never went back. I said, she dropped me off at the park. The homie said, we're going to go kick those and get some hoes. I said, and 3 hours later, we kicked those and got some hoes. And I never left that park. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where we at there. Like, you know, so just being self-aware with it, it's like, it fucks with you a little bit, but that definitely was the moment where I was like, I have to do something else. I have to figure out how to get riches and famous and all this other shit I'm always going to be a part of this, but I have to, even being a part of that, like, do you want it to be one of those things where you're the only one that made it out? Like, but now all the homies rapping shit, so all the homies are making it and doing different things. They got clothing lines, and car lots and all this shit. So it's great now, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which is, I'm glad I did hold on to that, because I could go out there right now. If I go to a show out there right now, like, it's not like my friends out here, I love them, but like, hey, I got a show Friday. Oh, yeah, we may or may not out there. Like, I don't know if it's just because we all like is in a gang or what. It's like, bruh, everybody's coming. Even if it's a 5-minute open mic set and I ain't been there in 2 years. Wow. Everybody's going to come and they're going to laugh. And then afterwards, like, what we doing after that? You know, it's like a thing. Like, it's this thing. But so holding on to that while also not wanting to disappoint my mom and being self-aware that, unlike my friends who this might have been a necessity for them, I need to be self-aware and not become one of those suburban blacks, one of that oh, this joyride is fun, and then I'm 30 now, I can't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I don't really like, once it gets sticky, like, oh, you went to jail for what? Like, you know, I can't. Mm-hmm. So it's like a fine line. It gets a little easier as you get older because everybody gets their own lives, and it's not so much of a bunch of young guys with testosterone, like, right on top of each other, like, you do something cool, I'll do something cool, you do something cool. We all can do something cool. Like, it's just like, hey, everything's cool now. You know, they got families and shit now. Like I said, businesses. So
that testosterone will lead a lot of young guys.
Testosterone is a dangerous thing.
Yeah, maybe responsible for a lot of bad decisions, man. It's like,
it's good though. It's good. Oh, but man, it's dangerous.
I mean, I remember, man, the level of testosterone like pumping through me as a teenager, where you're literally like ready to explode just seeing like a hot chick, you know? It's like you can feel it in your bones, like, oh god, I just want to fucking jump her bones right now. And it's like I was 41, I definitely am not even close to that. It's like, but looking back at, oh yeah, those are like crazy high levels of testosterone you're going through as a teenager.
High for like 4 years straight.
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't believe it. It's like, god damn it. And yeah, I guess that's another indicator that I'm old now. It's like, I still remember that, and I know how far away from that feeling now. It's like, oh yeah, that's definitely not going on.
T ain't no joke, boy.
Yeah, but you know what? Before we end it, since you brought up your mom, you said your mom was the one who encouraged you to get into stand up, right? It's like, what was the story there?
I got in trouble so much in school from just talking. And I would always have smart ass shit to say back. Our second grade, I remember I got suspended. The teacher was talking something, and I was like, I told her, why don't you shut up? Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck was that about? I was like, well, it's all about respect. Why should she about it? So it was like, obviously the kid's kind of smart. And their teachers would always tell me, like, I talked to Jai, he's so brilliant, but he doesn't do any of the work. And it was just like, I just knew, like, bro, I don't need long division. I know how to count money. And I don't want to be an astrophysicist, or I don't know what I want to be, but I know I don't need this shit. And so it just bored me, and like, I would always get in trouble, but the teachers would like laugh at the shit, you know, like, and my mom would like, or I'd be in trouble in the office and I'd explain it in a way, and my mom would chuckle when she's not supposed to. And then, like, even the other person would, I'm suspended and shit. And she would always say, you need to be a comic. You need to be a comic. And it's the same thing. Like, I tell people all the time, my mom was wanting me to be a comic, and my dad wanted me to be a postman. From the time I was 18, they knew, like, bro, you're not going to college. Like, you don't want to do that shit. It's cool. But I told them I had to spend 10 years of my life seeing how far I could take being a gangster. And I didn't get very far. So I ended up being a postman and doing the comedy shit anyway. So listen to your parents, kids. But all in all, though, she would just tell me all the time, like, you need to be a comedian. She kept saying it. And then one time she took me to open mic when I was like 18.
Wow.
I bombed, but I remember the feeling of the laughs I did get. That was like the hot, like,
So you
next
didn't
to
bomb.
alcohol.
You got laughs, then. You didn't bomb.
No, I mean, I got chuckles. I don't count chuckles as like, because I feel like if I get on stage introducing the next comic and I'm like, whew, gas is high, right? Chuckle. You know what I mean? So it's like I got chuckles. So like,
I know, but like to be like bombing is like literally nothing.
oh yeah, nah, right, yeah,
nothing, you know, like crickets.
Yeah.
So
I haven't been booed yet. I said when I get booed, I'm gonna cry. I know it. Not on stage, but I'm gonna go home and cry for sure.
Yeah, that would be something else. I don't know if it's booing, but it's just as bad in my opinion. You know Seamus, right?
Yeah, that's my boy. Shout out Seamus.
Yeah, sure. He texted me like one Friday night. He's like, oh man, I just fucking ate a big fat dick so hard right now. So he's telling me.
Wait, when did he text you?
Friday night.
I think I was to do too much when he.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
Apparently one guy in the audience just said, "When are you gonna start telling jokes?" So, I don't know if you were there, but
I don't know. I might not have been there.
But I was just like laughing, like, "Oh my god, man!" It's like that's pretty bad, dude. I was like, "Oh, we all eat like a big fat dick every now and then, man. That's just part of the process." All right. We gotta end this, dude. We're coming on 2 hours, right? An hour and 40.
Time flies.
All right, so John, tell people how they can find out about your stand-up dates.
The International Asshole, the International Asshole on Instagram, and .com, but just on Instagram right now. And also the Lyte Show. That's the LYTE show on Instagram. And I just be on there talking shit on my stories, and I'm always promoting myself on there. So follow me on the gram, and if you follow me on the gram, I'm gonna have all my dates and stuff on there.
What's the Lyte Show about?
The Lyte Show. That's my last name, Jonathan Lyte.
I know, but what is that? What's
so
that
one I
account
plan to
about?
have more, because I started to notice that as much as I don't like, and I don't disparage what I call Instagram comedy, I just felt like I was never really like great at it. It takes a lot of things that I don't want to say I don't want to do, but I'd have to work at, which, I started to think like, okay, well, if it's a part of the craft you weak at, you're going to have to. So I was like, I'll keep the main page as kind of like the me and my lifestyle and this and that. And then as I start shooting skits and like, little meme things like that, like reels and things, I can put them on the Lyte Show TV and then kind of more or less build that up. But it fell into just a second International Asshole. So I got a couple reels on there, but I have to start. I'm trying to build that as like my exclusive comedy page. Like I want the International Asshole for like comics. Like, oh yeah, Mike, follow me, International Asshole. And then it's like when I get on stage, because that's a long thing. But if I say the Lyte Show TV, it's nice. The Lyte Show. You can tell your mom that. You can say it in church. International Asshole is like, is he gonna get on there saying anything? So just trying to get professional about it and realizing that this is a career and it's unlike a job where 9 to 5, I just do my job. If I get good, I'll put in the time, I'll get promoted. It's like, no, you have to promote yourself and find new avenues, ways to promote yourself, new skills that you didn't know you needed. And then once you know that you need them, where can I get them? How do I work on them? Get comfortable with them, shit like that.
Cool, man. Sounds like, you got a good plan together. Yeah, that's awesome. That's good that you're aware of it, that you need to do things like that, right?
Anxiety would only, I'm telling you. It's a double-edged sword. It's a superpower.
All right, man. Thanks for being on, dude.
I appreciate you, boss. Yep.
Hey, guys. So thanks for tuning into the podcast. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to hit that follow/subscribe button and make sure to give us a 5-star rating to give us some algorithm love. Okay? Thanks for listening.